Hey guys, my name is Olga and welcome back to my channel. And today we are gonna try together this palette from Charlotte Tilbury, Pillow Talk Beautyverse Love Palette. I finally decided to take it because it was on sales and we are gonna try it together. You're gonna see swatches, free makeup looks, including wear test, and we are gonna discuss it. Let's go! First look guys, and today I want to do a win, a smudged win, and I want to try these two dark shades. And I'm gonna use this one as a base, and in order to make my win a little bit darker, I'm gonna use the darkest shade from this palette. And as well, probably I will try these two shades, this one for blending the edge a little bit, this one I will add as a crease shade, probably, most likely. And as well, I will probably try these two beautiful shades. This one I want to try to add as a main metallic shade, and as a topper I want to add this beauty in the center a little bit. That's the plan at least. So ready, steady, go, and we're gonna start from no. We are gonna start from this shade, from the crease shade. Let's try it. This formula is not new to Charlotte. It was released in 2023. And I like this formula. It's great, it's super creamy, super soft. On this side I'm not gonna use any eyeshadow primers. And it doesn't emphasize skin texture, that's why I like it. And it's quite pigmented and it's easy to blend it. Look at it. Looks great. The shade is quite pink and red, I would say. Well, actually, the palette itself is quite questionable from the color story point of view. It's definitely not for everyone because in some cases, well, actually all pink and red shades are quite tricky. And if you have watery eyes, slightly red eyes, such shades, they can easily emphasize it. Look at it, quite easy to blend, like it. I'm gonna change a brush, of course, and we are gonna try this beautiful burgundy shade. Grabbing it on a brush, and we are gonna create a form, a base for my wing, starting from the outer corner. Wow, lovely and quite pigmented, and of course it's quite creamy. And creating a base. Moving the shade slightly out. And don't forget to blend all the edges. Here I want to blend using the lightest shade, and let's do it quickly. For doing this, I'm gonna use slightly bigger brush, and let's try this beautiful pink shade. And I'm gonna use it for blending the edge right here and right here. Let's start from this side. Just kind of moving shades, and same thing here. You know what? Let's add toppers and shimmers. I'm gonna start from this shade. It's quite bright and pink. Grabbing it on a flat brush, and I'm gonna apply it fully on my lid, starting from the center and moving the shade in different directions. Well, it's quite bright and pink. Okay, already done. I would prefer something lighter, actually. And now in the center, changing the side, in the center I'm gonna add, let's try to add this one in the center as a topper. Beautiful, beautiful. Right here. Directly in the center, and what's left on my brush above the crease. And of course, don't forget to return back to the crease shade and don't forget to blend everything. Grabbing a small flat brush and the darkest shade from the palette. And I'm gonna start from the lash line and from the base. And I'm gonna blend this shade into the previous one, creating the base, moving the shade slightly out. I can do it even using a clean brush. Now let's add a bit more. And starting, kind of, I'm simultaneously blending the shade into the previous. Moving, 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 moving. If needed, can move it a little bit out. It was a mistake. Near the lash line, I will add an eyeliner from Essence in shade 5. Especially, I want to add this eyeliner kind of in between lashes. Moving to the lower lid, and let's again start from this shade. Gonna add it closer to the outer corner, right here, and blending it a little bit. In the inner corner, I will add light pink highlighter. I can't really say that I'm super happy with the look, because it's too red, in my personal opinion. Grabbing a little bit right here, probably applied a little bit too much, but okay. I'm gonna draw an inner line using the darkest shade from the palette. Continue upper line and connecting to the lower. On the lower lid, I'm gonna add a light pink shade. Finished look. And of course, I used false lashes today. Without them, makeup would look differently and not that finished, I would say. On lips, I'm wearing today a lipstick from L'Oreal, shade 102, lip liner from Luxe Visage, shade 66, and a lip gloss from Fenty, shade Pussy. And at the part, well, I like the final look. It looks great, especially with false lashes. But I can't really say that I'm super impressed and that I'm super happy. I'm happy with matte eyeshadows, with the quality, because this formula is definitely great. It's super creamy, it's super soft, it doesn't emphasize anything. If you have any dry issues, dry patches on eyelids, it should be fine, and this formula shouldn't emphasize this dryness. But I don't like this color story. I mean, it's fine, it makes sense sometimes, but it's definitely not for everyone. And this color story is quite tricky, actually. And if you have slightly red eyes, everything's gonna be emphasized, just simply everything, and your eyes would appear more red, and kind of it would appear that you were crying the whole night, and yeah, it's kind of tricky. And all shades from this palette are pink or a little bit red, all shades, just simply all. I like these matte eyeshadows, yeah, as I already told you, they are great. Talking about metallics, basic dark pink metallic shade with a bit of some sparkles, but I can't really say that they are super visible. They are visible on eyelid, yeah, but they are not that bright. This shade is great, it's beautiful, and actually it's quite lovely, and it would look lovely as a part of any looks, because it's pink, it's still pink, but it's more neutral. So, from the quality point of view, no questions, but the color story is a little bit questionable. So now I'm going to show you makeup look closely, and we're going to see each other in the evening. I've been wearing my makeup today around 10 hours, and let's take a look. On this side I used an eyeshadow primer and everything looks great. no issues at all. On this side, I haven't used anything, and of course, eyeshadows may crease a little bit. Today, I'm gonna do smoky eyes, and I wanna try the darkest shimmer from this palette. And as well, I haven't tried this particular shade yet, so I want to try it as well. As the darkest shade today, I'm gonna use this one, most likely. And over in the center, I will apply this beautiful topper and gonna blend this shade using this one. On the lower lid, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Grabbing the darkest shade on a flat brush. And as usual on this side, I'm not gonna have any eyeshadow primers. On this side, I will have. Starting from the center, I'm gonna add this shade till the crease. It's creamy, soft, and quite pigmented. So applying it, it's not patchy at all. And I will add extra near the lash line, of course. Quite beautiful shade, and actually it's quite interesting. Gonna do exactly the same thing on the lower lid, but we'll grab a small brush and applying the shade on the lower lid. Changing the brush, and let's try this beautiful shade. Grabbing it. It appears a little bit not that pink as other shades, and adding it in the crease and blending the edge. So I shouldn't have any lines right here, so I'm doing my best for blending the edge and for blending the shade. Beautiful shade, and it's so easy to blend these matte eyeshadows. And I want to have something for blending into skin, so I want to add the lightest shade, one more shade. And probably, you know what, let's try to mix these two guys together. And let's try to blend the edge right here a bit too much. And let's do like this. So kind of blending everything into skin. Of course, as an option, you can keep it as it is. I mean, you can leave it fully matte, but we should try shimmers. So grabbing the darkest shimmer on a flat brush. It doesn't work with this brush. I should do something else. Not a big fan of this formula. It's not that easy to apply it with a brush. You just look at it. It's not nice. Of course, you can apply with fingers, but starting from the center and applying it even a little bit above the crease. This particular shade is quite dry. That's life, that's life. For this money, I think it's not acceptable, really. We can find something better. But yes, it looks quite beautiful. I will probably add something light in the inner corner because I don't really want to add shimmers, at least not today. So adding a little bit right here and blending the shade into the previous shades. And if it's a little bit too much, blending edges. Time to add black eyeliner. Starting from the lash line, and I'm gonna add it in the waterline as well and blending the edge right here. Using gel eyeliner. And don't forget to blend the edge near the lash line, near the waterline. And I don't really know whether I wanna just simply add mascara or whether I wanna add false lashes. But because today I'm way too lazy to add false lashes, so I'll probably use the basic mascara. But if you add false lashes, it would look extremely perfectly. Okay guys, sharing my thoughts. Today I like this color story and I like this look. It's a little bit cool tone, not really, a little bit, it's really cool tone, and we don't really have that much red here. It's more like a gray pink story, looks lovely with, by the way, with a bit of brown, because this shade, well, it looks a little bit brown, at least in my case, especially over this matte eyeshadow. I like these matte eyeshadows. They are super creamy, they are so soft, they don't emphasize anything, it's so easy to blend them. Perfect formula, my beloved formula actually from Charlotte. And in overall, this formula is definitely great. I'm not impressed by this shade. It's impossible to apply it, it's almost impossible to apply it with a brush, and I think that for this money it's not that acceptable actually, and moreover this shade is quite dry, and for Charlotte it's not acceptable. And of course, let me tell you what I'm wearing currently on lips: lip liner from Really, shade 12, and a lip gloss, actually it is a lip balm from Catrice in shade 20. By the way, beautiful lip balm, feels nicely on lips, not sticky, and it's quite pigmented. Now I'm gonna show you makeup look closely, and we're gonna see each other in the evening. I have my makeup on around 10 hours, and let's take a look. Okay, on this side I've used an eyeshadow primer and everything looks quite lovely, no issues. On this side I haven't used anything, and yeah, eyeshadows may crease a little bit. It's not that bad actually, could be worse. But yeah, they can crease. Time for the final look, and I haven't tried only one shade, so it's gonna be our star for today. And I don't know, I will probably do a kind of a hello eyes or something like this. And most likely I'm gonna use this beauty as a main shade and this dark shade for adding more definition. At least that's the plan, and let's go. We're gonna start from this Bordeaux shade, grabbing it on actually on a kind of a small brush, at least for now, and adding the shade closer to the outer corner till the crease. And as well, I'm gonna add it in the outer corner right here. Now let's blend it a little bit, and I'm gonna use pink shade for blending. And starting from the crease, of course, and it's gonna be our crease shade at the same time. So blending all edges, and as well I'm gonna use the shade for blending everything into skin. So moving the shade slightly out. And now let's add a little bit more definition. So I'm grabbing the darker shade from the palette and gonna add it again in the inner corner a little bit right here, back to the previous shade and blending it to the previous shade. And same thing in the outer corner, adding a little bit in the outer corner, moving it and blending into the previous shade. And in the center, I'm gonna add this beautiful topper. At least I will try. Okay, it's not that easy, but still I have something. But it's a little bit flaky, kind of. And starting from the center and moving the shade in different directions, and of course applying a little bit above the crease. Moving to the lower lid, and again I'm gonna start from Bordeaux and adding it for now fully on the lower lid. Back to the darker shade and adding it in the outer corner, moving slightly till the pupil, and a little bit what's left in the inner corner. Under the pupil, I'm gonna add a little bit of this beauty right here, and in the inner corner something super light. And in the waterline, something a little bit light. Finished look. I used false lashes today. I can't really say that I'm super happy with that, but I want to finish some of them. So, guys, this beautiful palette. I can't really say that I'm super impressed, actually. There are some shades which are kind of okay. There are some which are and still, I'm not a big fan of this color story. It's definitely not for everyone. And in some cases, this color story may emphasize everything that you don't really want to. So, for instance, if you didn't sleep well and if you have slightly red eyes, your eyes would appear more red and everything is going to be emphasized. Moreover, they would appear even like you were crying the whole night. So, it depends. Talking about the quality, I'm not a big fan of this too. It's not that easy to apply them with a brush. This one is kind of okay, it's doable. This one is just no way. I don't know. I'm happy that I didn't buy it for full price. That's the thing. Okay, let me tell you what I'm wearing currently on lips. And by the way, beautiful combo. I like it. Lip liner from Natasha Denona in shade Natasha, and beautiful lipstick. It's a kind of a lip balm from Vivienne Savoy in shade 1. It looks like this. As an option, you can find something from Nature or take something from Nature, Republic, NYX, ELF. And yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna show you look closely. I look closely and we are gonna see each other in the evening. So, I have my makeup on around 11 hours and we are gonna check everything. On this side, I used an eyeshadow primer and everything looks great. No issues on this side. I haven't used anything and ta-da-ta-tam. Yeah, eyeshadows can crease and at some point it is expected because they are quite creamy. We're gonna start from basic information. This palette costs 58 euro, but you can find it on sales and pay for it 43 or 42 euro. Here we have 9 grams and this palette is made in Italy. If you have this palette from Charlotte Tilbury, it's Christmas collection 2024. You know what you can actually expect because here we have more or less the same textures, more or less the same formulas. But I think that this palette is a little bit better, in my personal opinion, as this one. Because here we have more, I would say, more wearable color story. This color story is not for everyone. Here we have mainly red, pink, red shades, which are kind of tricky, I would say. Matte shadows here are the same. So we have only one formula and it's exactly the same as this one. And I think that this formula from Charlotte Tilbury is great and it's super creamy, it's super soft. Yes, it's not that pigmented. And if you compare it, for instance, to basic formula from Natasha Denona is going to be more pigmented. But you know what? Natasha Denona has the same formula as well. More or less the same formula. Why I do like this formula? Because it's so creamy, it's so soft, and it doesn't emphasize anything. So if you have any dry patches, if you have mature skin, if you have some texture on eyelid, this formula, it doesn't emphasize it. And that's why I think that it's great and it's gorgeous, especially in case of mature or dry brown skin. And it's so easy to work with this formula and it's easy to blend. It's easy to blend, it's easy to apply, and you can layer this formula. And that's why when I tried this product, this palette from Charlotte, I was like, wow, it's so lovely, it's so great. I'm in love, I'm obsessed. And same thing here. I'm in love, I'm obsessed. I think that this formula is the best one. And I think that we need fully matte palette and with more neutral and more wearable shades, actually. Talking about shimmers, guys, we have not stable formulas here. We have actually 4 different textures: basic, metallic, beautiful, creamy, easy to apply with a brush, more like a topper. And I think that's this formula, we don't really have the same formula here. And it's creamy, it's soft, it doesn't really have visible base, so I suggest wearing this shade as a topper and not as a basic metallic. A lovely metallic, kind of metallic topper, and I think that this shade is the same formula, it's more or less the same as here. But for instance, here we had extra glitters, and I think that here this shade is a little bit more creamy if we compare it to these two shades. And my least favorite, just least favorite shade from this palette is this one. Unfortunately, you can't apply it at all. You can try to apply it with brushes. It's almost impossible to do. You can try to apply it with fingers. It's almost impossible to do. It's kind of, I can't say that it's dry, but at the same time, it's not that super creamy. And when you try to grab it on a finger, it's like, it's doable. You still can see something on your finger, but it's not that easy. And this particular shade is not that bright. And I think that the quality of this shade is bad. Let's be honest, it's just simply bad. And yeah, kind of, I was very disappointed when I tried this particular shade. So we're done with formulas, we're done with textures, because nothing really new here. Now let's talk about color story, and let's discuss all shades. This one is more like light pink, oh not light, sorry, bright pink shade with a bit of Bordeaux, I would say. This one is brown, the main shade, the base is brown, warm brown with a bit of red, and we have extra glitters here. They are a little bit silver and pink. This one is more like pink, dark pink with a bit of something red. Actually, it's a lovely shade. I think it looks great, but be careful, it can emphasize skin texture a little bit, especially if you apply a lot. And don't grab a lot on your brush or on finger, because it may fall off a little bit while being applied. This shade is just the star. It's a mix of light pink with a bit of neutral golden. So I think that this shade is so yummy and great. This one is a little bit unique shade. It looks like, on camera, it looks like, I would say, black, kind of close to black, but it's not black. It's not black. It has a little bit kind of red undertone, and it's more like dark brown with a bit of gray and something red. It's lovely, it's great, but it's not that dark on the eyelid. It looks way lighter, and due to this, you can easily work with this shade and you wouldn't have any problems. You shouldn't have any problems with this shade. This one, Bordeaux. It is a beautiful Bordeaux shade, and it's more on red side than on pink side. And actually it's quite lovely, and it's my first shade like this because I tried to find some similar shades and I couldn't. I have mainly Bordeaux shades which are a little bit more on pink side, or kind of dark pink, or with a bit of purple. This one is like more on red side, and that's lovely. This shade, unfortunately, it's a little bit warm. So if you have warm undertone, may appear a little bit kind of way too warm. A mix of mauve pink with a bit of warmness in it. Basic pink, but actually it's a lovely neutral pink shade. Looks great. This one is warm as well, and it is a kind of a light beige with pink and with a bit of something orange. So yes, it's a little bit warm. If you wonder where you can find more or less similar texture formula to this one from Charlotte Tilbury, I can name you several options. First of all, Bobbi Brown. Yeah, Bobbi Brown has more or less similar texture, and here I have a palette which is called Luxe Eyes Glow Palette, and these two matte eyeshadows, they are quite close to Charlotte, but they are not that creamy. They are a little bit drier, but still textures are quite similar. One more option Natasha Denona, guys, Natasha Denona. And if you have palette, which is called Retro Palette, here we have a beautiful, beautiful shade, and it's called Rebellion. And this texture is super close to Charlotte Tilbury. It's so close to Charlotte. But you know what? Be careful with such textures because they can crease a little bit, especially if you don't use any eyeshadow primers. And one more option, Huda Beauty. These creamy palettes, quite similar, but not exactly the same. I think that it's easier to work with Charlotte than with this formula from Huda Beauty. I still think that it's lovely. I like these palettes and I like this formula because, again, it's so super, it's kind of a hybrid, I would say. It's not super creamy, and at the same time, it's not super powder. It is a kind of a mix. And if we compare these two, I would say that this one is a little bit softer than this one. This one is like, it's not that easy even to apply it with some brushes. Well, this product you can apply it with any brushes. Now let's quickly talk about some similar shades, some similar palettes. I don't have any from drugstore, actually. Sorry, because it seems like, well, first of all, I'm not a big fan of this color store because it's a tricky story. It's a tricky story, and if you, for instance, have slightly red eyes, if you didn't sleep well, or if you were crying, such shades, they are gonna emphasize just simply everything. So please be careful with such slightly red and light or bright pink shades. Be careful. As an option, you can use such shades and you can apply something blue in the waterline. It would help a little bit, but still your eyes might appear a little bit kind of weak and watery. That's why I'm not a big fan of such shades, and I don't really have that many palettes with this color story. The first palette, Natasha Denona, Retro palette, and we have more or less similar color story here, and actually we have several shades which are kind of similar to Charlotte. Let's quickly take a look. I mean, if you have this palette from Natasha Denona, I don't really think that you need this palette from Charlotte Tilbury. Yeah, there are some shades which are not the same, quite many, but still, the color story is going to be quite similar. And one more option is this palette from Lime Crime. Yes, I know that it's impossible to buy it, but still, you can probably try to find it on eBay, or maybe you have it. Maybe you have it. Why not? I have this palette. It's called Greatest Hits Classics. And let's talk about quite similar shades. As I've already told you, I couldn't find an exact dupe to this shade because all shades which I have that look more or less similar to this one, they're not the same. They are more on pink side. And the first shade is this one from Lime Crime. And again, first of all, by the way, it's drier. It's so dry if we compare this one to this one. I mean, formulas. And this one is more on pink side. One more option, Natasha Denona, and this beautiful creamy shade from here. Same thing, it's more on pink side than on red side. And I have several more options. Not this palette. I think that this one from Pat McGrath. No, not this. This one from Pat McGrath. And we have, again, kind of Bordeaux shade here, but again, it's more on pink side than on red side. And let's quickly do some swatches. So, just to compare all of them. Charlotte, Pat McGrath. Look, they are not the same, not the same. Natasha Denona. And this beautiful creamy shade. You know, I think that even the same formula. I think so. This one is more on the red side than this one, but still it's not exactly the same as this particular shade. And like Lime Crime. This one is closer to Pat McGrath, I would say. Take a look. So they are kind of Bordeaux, but they are not the same. I could find something similar to this shade, but again, it's not going to be exactly the same. I like this particular shade. I think it looks quite interesting and it's quite unique. Something more or less similar from Pat McGrath, this beautiful shade. I think it's, but you know what? It's not going to be close because it's going to be more, I would say, purple. They look quite similar if you do like this, but in reality, take a look. They're just different. One more shade from Pat McGrath. This one, again, it looks quite similar, but it's not exactly the same. This one is more, it's brighter and it's more on red side, while this one has kind of a little bit peach undertone and it doesn't look that bright. But these two, I think that they're quite close. And the last shade, yeah, guys, I haven't found that many because, as I've told you, I don't really have that many shadows in this color store, this shade. And again, I think that this shade is quite beautiful. And I can't really say that I found an exact dupe. Natasha Denona, guys. Natasha Denona shade Go Go from this palette. They look quite similar in the palette, but they are not exactly the same. Again, this one is more beige, this one is more like pink peach. So that's why I think that for me, at least, this palette is going to be kind of unique. And I'm happy that I bought it, but I can't really say that I'm going to use it that often, being honest. So guys, let me know down below what you think about this palette from Charlotte Tilbury. Do you like this color story? No. And what do you think about this beautiful super creamy formula from Charlotte? Have you tried it and do you like it or no? I hope you enjoyed this video, and if yes, don't forget to put a thumbs up, of course, and consider subscribing. I wish you a pleasant day and I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye bye.